Greetings, chess players. My name is Chris Torres, and I am happy to be coming back to streaming and providing content for my Twitch and YouTube fans today. In this episode, I'm going to play a training game with one of my students. We've done a lot of lessons where we've looked at famous games that would benefit him a lot. We've also analyzed his games from a whole bunch of tournaments recently. But he plays another tournament this weekend, so I wanted to use today to play a training game with him. It should be really entertaining because he is very, very talented. So let me make sure I'm logged in to chess.com. I'm not sure. It looks like I am. All right, I am logged in. It says, but why is the window not changing? There we go. All right, so I should be getting a challenge from my student, and then I will, of course, accept that challenge, and we will go ahead and play some chess. I will, talk strategy while we're going. Again, while I'm waiting for that, my name is Chris Torres. I am the Cal Chess Scholastic Coordinator, so I'm in charge of scholastics for Northern California. I'm the Cal Chess Journal Editor. I write the magazine for California Chess. I'm a correspondence chess master, and I've been coaching for 25 years, primarily in Northern California. Let's see. Are any of these... Nope. That is not him. Waiting for my challenge, and then we'll get going. In the meantime, it's worth checking out my webpage, dailychessmusings.com. And also, you can check out all our past videos on the Daily Chess Musings YouTube channel. Still waiting. One thing that I did this past weekend was I went to the Cal Chess State Championships for kindergarten through 5th graders, and saw a lot of interesting chess. It's cool being the coordinator and the editor for the Cal Chess Journal, because it gives me all the behind-the-scenes access. So I took a bunch of photos, saw a lot of really exciting chess games. Chess at all levels is exciting to me. The kindergarten section's crazy exciting. Also, so was the Meltwater Championship in San Francisco. Both equally as exciting. I enjoyed being at both events equally as much. Still waiting for my challenge from my student. I do not see it yet. Soon he should be doing that. Looks like I got something. He's wanting to chat with me. Oh, he's asking me, yeah. I can send him a challenge, that's fine. So play a friend. I thought he was going to send me a challenge. He thought I was going to send him a challenge. This is the kind of stuff that we do. And here it comes right now. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. Also, let me do something with my sound situation. I don't like having there we go. Yeah, I have the sound source running through the I do some interesting things for there we go. I muted it. Otherwise I get like double ticks of piece moves. All right, I'm gonna go Italian. So I have a piece developed. I have a pawn in the center, he has a pawn in the center, I have a piece developed, he has a piece developed, I have a second piece developed, he has a second piece developed. And oh, you know what? I've been looking a lot with a bunch of my students. A lot of times I will play b4, which was a favorite of Bobby Fischer, of course, but also a favorite of Christopher Yu. If you don't know about Grandmaster Christopher Yu, who also resides in Northern California, he plays a lot of Evans Gambit. However, I've been looking with a particular class that I teach about the Giuoco Piano Classical Italian, the main line. So I do this little move, which actually kind of helps take control of d4, right? So it's not like a very passive move. And the idea is I'm allowing my opponent to develop a knight so that I can get a second center pawn. So they get a lead in development momentarily, and I get a advantage in space in the center of the board. Creates imbalances, and there he goes. All right, so normally we see capture here, and then I take back, and then bishop b4, and then I have a decision to make. All right, so I have 2 pawns in the center, 2 pieces developed. My opponent has 3 pieces developed, no pawns in the center, and I have a decision to make. Should I play the old line or the other old line? I mean, Greco played them both 400 years ago. One's called Greco's Gambit, bishop d2. The other's called the Mueller Gambit, but Greco played them both. I'm going to go with the Greco, the old line, not the knight c3. Knight c3 is maybe a little bit more fun to play. I think bishop d2 is a little bit more solid. Rossolimo played, he was, a top-level grandmaster, and he played this particular line in the Giuoco Piano very nicely. And normally I think black takes, and then I take, and then they come out here, and then I have 2 knight targets. That's the old book line. Again, this is a 400-year-old opening. It's still plenty fine today. Still plenty fine today. Get myself a little bit. You need to be comfortable. Have elbow space, right? Let's see. All right, yeah. So he does that. I take, and then he's supposed to take with his knight. And then here, I believe I'm supposed to sack my bishop on f7, then bring my queen out and threaten his knight. This is what I'm remembering from, again, very ancient Greco stuff. But let me, I'm double checking it in my mind. So bishop takes, king takes, and then queen to b3 check, forking these two, and then he can play d5. Yeah, this is the line. All right. Fun stuff. So king should take, and then I play queen b3 check. Forking. Yeah, Gioachino Greco. His name was Giacino or Ccino. Greco. He was really the world's first chess professional. He was an orphan, a Greek orphan, Greco, who ended up at a monastery being taken care of by priests in Italy. And the priest that took him in taught him chess. And maybe that priest's name was Lorenzo, if I'm getting the story right. And Lorenzo was pretty good in and of himself. Queen b3 check. This again took place in the 17th century, meaning the 1600s. This is very old old line. The early 1600s too. So I mean, this line is over for. We've been inspired by Greco for about 400 years. Two guys who would have had. So Greco got robbed while journeying. He was the best chess player in Italy. Then he became the best. I'll play a check here, and then I'll take the knight. Then he became the best chess player in northern Italy. Then he, went and saw, I think, the King Queen of Spain. He was performing, and he was getting very rich. And then he went to England, and in the Scottish or Irish countryside, he was robbed of his gold. So then he sent a manuscript back to his priest friend, who published the manuscript, which became a treatise, a main textbook on chess strategies and ideas. And that book was like one of the main books, maybe the main book for a good 200 years. So, for instance, Paul Morphy would have had that book in his parents' library at home. And Alyakin, Alexander Alyakin, yes, that's how you say his name, also would have had this book in his library. A while ago, I saw Greco's original book on auction, and I think it was like some kind of really good deal, like $7,000 for something so historically important to chess. Unfortunately, though, okay, so Ashan made a mistake here. Better is to bring the king up. Much better. I should take this knight. So now we've evened it material. He may play queen f6 and threaten my belly button twice, in which case I would castle. But yeah, considering the how important that book is, and it was an authentic copy of such an ancient, I think the 7,000 was quite a deal. I may never see another copy, of that quality again. But if I do, hopefully I've won the lottery before it's auctioned. All right, so let's take a look. First of all, we have both of us have a pawn in the center and a knight on the outpost on each other's side of the board. I have an extra piece developed, and my extra piece developed is pretty nicely placed right now. And remember, black has moved their king, so there will be no castling for black today, which is again why his king should have moved up, not back. It's not going to be safer in the back row. That's the edge of the board. It's going to be more likely to be checkmated back there, plus interfering with coordination of pieces. As soon as I finish this game with Yishan, then, yep. All right, so he develops with a threat. The threat is checkmate. He's developing with the threat checkmate. This is nothing new. And the way to deal with this threat is to do what you want to do anyways, and that is to castle. So I would be surprised if I haven't already played this exact first 13 moves at some point. I'd be very surprised if I haven't. In fact, I remember maybe hitting this position at the laundromat with my 6-year-old, because I was also looking at Italian historic Italian games with him, and I have a feeling maybe we hit this exact position. This looks very familiar. I would have had him on stream tonight like I sometimes do, but he would have been helping me out a little too much. He's very, he's getting very good, and so he'll like point out my mistakes and things, and yeah. Don't need that level of kibitzing. Okay, so this is dangerous. The queen is in the same file as my king. Bishop is threatening to come down. And this would be threatening checkmate. And also, this pawn would not be able to take and would have to move forward. Maybe I lose my rook. So I'm going to take a moment or two and really think. This is the first moment in the game where I have to think. The rest was like historic stuff from knowing my ancient chess. I love chess history. So, I mean, obviously there's the potential check here and here. Hello, Arcane Doctrine. It's great to see you again, too. There's also, you know, bringing my queen back, putting in the same file as my opponent's king. There is also bringing the knight back, threatening the queen, right? Bringing the other knight out. I have a lot of, bringing the other knight out is, a lot of reasonable moves. And again, the main threat my opponent has is this bishop h3, which is a little uncomfortable. F4 is even playable. I'm taking my time here. These are important decisions to get right. F4 looks very playable. It does expose me on a whole nother diagonal though, right? So I got to be a little careful because if I play F4, then Queen E3 check, right? And his knight's guarding F2, so yeah, this check from the queen would be dangerous. Again, I need to be a little careful about possibilities there. But I mean, obviously the pawn on F4 prevents the queen from going there in the first place. But it's still something I worry, right? It's good to understand the how F4 weakens you on this diagonal. It was the Giuoco Piano, the classical Italian, made famous by Gioachino Greco 400 years ago, early 1600s. It even predates Greco. And here, I'll go back through the start of it. So pawn in the center, knight, the usual stuff. And then the Italian game. This is the Italian. Had I put my bishop here, it'd be the Spanish, named after Ruy Lopez, another important figure in chess history. And then bishop c5. The other option would have been knight f6. Those are the two main options. And then had knight f6, I might have used a fried liver, right? Or Vienna's another fun game to play for sure. But the bishop c5, as I pointed out earlier in the broadcast, oftentimes I will play the Bobby Fischer favorite of pawn to b4. But I had recently been going through Gioachino Greco games where c3 was employed. Grabs control of d4 with the intention of putting a pawn on it, giving white two center pawns. Black gets a third piece developed first, though. So we have neat imbalances, space versus force right now. And then check. And then here you can block with your knight or your bishop, either one. And Greco did both. He showed us how to play both. I went this route, and then this whole line here by Greco shows us how it's done. Both these knights are on our side of the board, not defended. So tactics, sack, check, fork, block, check. This is still Greco. Some people don't throw this check in, but Greco did, so I do. I could have just taken the knight, for example. But yeah, and then this threat here, the king should not have gone. It should have gone forward. And then I castle, and now this move, and this is where I am. Yeah, everybody. These historic. The best way to learn in opening is to just look at some key historic games, not memorize variations. You'd be surprised. A lot of these tactics are super common for the Italian, so you probably would see them. All right, so again, bishop h3 is the threat. And I need to look at my checks, captures, and threats. Get my brain back on analyzing chess and being a little less entertaining with my stream. So checks, captures, threats. You know, a lot of stuff that I do. My opponent has a threat of checkmate immediately. Let's see. Let's see. I threw out a whole bunch of possibilities. I have checks myself. I'm calculating now like 5 steps ahead through a lot of these different possibilities that I suggested, and I'm still, you know, I'm still leaning toward f4. I'm heavily leaning toward it. Although knight c3 develops a piece, unifies my rooks. It's what I classically should do. I classically, you know, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, f4 weakens my king safety. Knight c3. I've completed all 3 goals. Pawn in the center, castle, unify rooks. Pawn in the center, I'm castled, and my rooks see each other. These are the classical 3 opening goals. And then we can add what we learned from Morphy in a moment. And what I learned from Morphy is his secret doctrine of moving, making sure he's touched all his pieces. So I'm expecting bishop h3, by the way. So Morphy would be employing his rook on a1 very soon if this was played by Morphy. I'm expecting the bishop to h3 move. There it is, bishop h3. So again, you need to look at your checks, captures, and threats, right? First of all, we see that there is the threat of checkmate. And we also see that this pawn is pinned to my rook on f1. So right here, you just play. Maybe I'll have time to play one more. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to play g3, and then if bishop takes my rook, then I take with my rook, and yeah, I'm down that one exchange, but I've moved all my pieces, and my opponent cannot castle. So I'm okay with this scenario. In the Italian game, we create a lot of imbalances as part of the opening. It's not the 4 knights, which is also a fine opening. I have nothing but nice things to say about the 4 knights opening. Some people say it's, you know, it's boring, this and that. Well, I mean, go look at some Capablanca games. He certainly put a lot of fun and artistry into the opening. But the Italian is about imbalances. I have a feeling that this last thing probably surprised Ishan just a little bit. I think I probably surprised him with the idea of allowing him to win that exchange. But now his attack is basically over, and it's going to be my turn to have fun. And fun I will have. His king cannot castle. Let's remind. While Ishan's thinking, I'm going to go ahead and take you back through from the get-go. Pawn center, the usual. And then Italian game. You know, before I get to the usual, I shouldn't. This knight actually is, you know, controlling e5 and fighting for control of d4. Black's knight is controlling e5 and fighting for control, maintaining control of d4 for black. And then the bishop comes out. Now I'm controlling d5. They're controlling d4. Their bishop comes out. They're really controlling d4. And now look at this little pawn move. Little pawn move. Who controls d4 now? Right? This little pawn move does so much. It takes away black's control of d4, but they get a third piece developed. Then I occupy d4. Boom, boom. Bishop's got to move. Boom, boom. I have 2 options. Block, Boom, boom. 2 knights exposed. Check. Fork. Check. Take. And this is interesting now. I'm out of my memory. This giving up the exchange idea that I did here, I hope I didn't use his name. I may have used my student's name. It just occurs to me. He's very talented, but yeah, privacy is important. This is going to make it more educational because there's more imbalances, right? See, he's +2 in points in material, but material and force are slightly different. Force are pieces that you can use. Material is just what's been taken. So he is ahead by 2 in material, but his force is lacking. Like, this could disappear in a move, and then he would only have 1 piece developed, and these 2 are disconnected. So I would have a big lead in force. The force will be with me. In Star Wars, the Empire maybe had a lead in material, right? They had their what do they call the big ships? Oh man, Imperial. What were they called? Star destroyers, I think. Yeah, and the Death Star, right? I mean, they had a material and all those stormtroopers and yeah, TIE fighters, whatnot. But Luke had the Force. Yoda had the Force. Arcane Doctrine tried the English opening, but I struggle because of my weak positional understanding. Okay, this whole concept of controlling squares. Think about when positional chess isn't such a mystery when you think about controlling squares. What squares? You don't control, a pawn doesn't control the square it's on. This pawn is not controlling d4. It's controlling e5. My opponent's pawn is not controlling d5. It's controlling d4. This is the big mistake I see. That's great. That one nightmare. Give me a follow, subscribe, or whatever you call it. Yeah. In the meantime, I am playing a wonderful game with one of my students who's going to be playing in a tournament. He is going to be if he's not in the top 100 for his high school age group, he will be soon. And that in the country. He is so his rating on here is not very accurate, and mine gets pounded by these students. I have so many fantastic students that I'm constantly playing with. I'm friends with. That yeah, I get a beating because I teach them all my quote secrets, which really there aren't any secrets in chess. All the information's on there on the board. And I publicly, early on when I was a coach, I mean, the other coaches told me, oh, you shouldn't show people this or this. You should keep that just for your private students. There's so much knowledge. And it's such an expansive game that I freely put up like all my lessons on my blog, dailychessmusings.com, or on my YouTube channel. I don't filter anything. I don't need to keep secrets. Aha. So he gave this a lot of thought, right? And he gets another piece in the game. He's threatening f2 twice. It does restrict his king a little bit, right? His king cannot go here, here, or here. So this, king safety is always worth looking at. And then I could easily just trade, but I could also, here's a temptation. Instead of trading to get rid of his powerful knight with my lesser knight, I could move my knight closer And it threatens all kinds of good stuff here. It would be threatening e7, threatening c7, right? So I'm really looking. This is going to get wild and exciting, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to play knight takes d5. And now my queen is backward, helping to, backward defend d2. But more to the point, it's no fun having two knights near your opponent's king like this, right? So my student has to calculate like a madman, and if he makes a mistake, he will be punished. And he's good enough to know this. Yeah, I got two knights right in his face. Checking distance is what I like to call this. I moved a knight to within checking distance. Knights are close range attackers. Bishops and queens can attack from a distance. This is getting exciting. Yeah, it's really neat to see Arcane Doctrine. As soon as I got back on, he says hello. Because it's been longer than I wanted. I did have another little episode with that virus that shall not be named. And it threw me for a little bit of a loop. But so be it. I continue. Chess is my recess from life. You get to be the king in the game of chess. You get to make all the decisions. It's completely fair. If you lose, it's your decision making that was wrong, and if you win, it was your decision making that was right. He cannot queenside castle because he moved his king. Yeah, he's just stuck. Yep. I mean, he just to review how he got here, it was a Giuoco Piano. And then right here is where his king should have actually went up, and he's got a fine position. It's difficult, but fine. But he went back, which he does get a nice little attack. And I did something interesting. I knew he was going to bring his bishop, and I allowed it. I allow him to get up the exchange to get here. We'll see. I threw a little monkey wrench in there by allowing him to go up the exchange, because I think my position's so superior that I don't care being down in material. My king safety is so much more important than material, right? So your advantages in order. King safety is the most important, highest level, because if you get checkmated, game's over. Then you got material. He's ahead in material. I'm ahead in king safety. Time. Who's done more, faster? Right now, I was ahead in time. I completed my 3 goals. He never completed his. He's missing 2 of his 3. Castling and center pawn. Space. Who controls more space? Right now, I do. Force. Who's got more force at play? We're about even in force right now, actually. He's got 3 pieces that are activated and attacking. I have the same, so he's gotten himself even in force. But getting this piece, this other rook, useful for him is going to be difficult. And then time, space, force, and pawn structure. And pawn structure wise, I do have an isolated pawn. He has no pawn weaknesses. So again, king safety, material, time, space, force, and pawn structure. And yeah, I separate, this is something that I learned to do a long time ago. Like maybe 15 years ago, I started doing this with my students. Separating material and force. I'm not sure that that's in a book yet, but it is a habit that we got in the habit of doing. And with great success, I've had many students win national championships. All right, so the only thing stopping me from saying just checkmate, in case you're keeping track at home, is this. So I'm tempted to do a remove the guard kind of scenario here. Removing the guard means, you know, threatening his queen, get the queen to move, and then I say checkmate. The pawn f4 looks like a good way to threaten the queen. His queen, if I play pawn f4, I believe his queen has to go to d8. I believe it does. So I could play pawn f4, and see, he needs to guard this square, otherwise I checkmate him, right? Uh-oh. Wait. If I play pawn f4, can he just take with his rook? No, because I take with my knight, right? Okay. Just making sure, because this g3 is pinned. I mean, this is very dangerous. So if I play f4, I threaten his queen. He could play pawn c5. You know, that's another thing I better look at. If I play f4, he could play pawn c5. Holy moly. He's blocking my threat of checkmate. I am threatening his queen. He's threatening my queen. He's up material. I better make sure this works. Because if I take with my pawn, then he can just take this. No, he can't take that knight because I have another pawn on f4. Calculate accurately, Chris. All right, so I'm looking heavily at removing the guard. Heavily considering playing f4. It's a very exciting move. It's very exciting. I don't think he wants to play c5 because then I might just play like a queen a4, queen b5 check, and this could get... I'm going to go ahead and play f4. This looks exciting to me. Okay, let's see. He says he messed up. I just noticed this in his chat. We'll find out. It's all right. I mean, this isn't his tournament this weekend. He will be playing in a tournament this weekend. If he's going to have mistakes in his calculation or something. One time he pushed me to the brink. He almost beat me. This very student. You can probably go back in the history of our YouTube channel and see. The seconds were ticking down. Of course, it is the goal of any teacher that students should surpass them. Otherwise, we're moving in the wrong direction as a society. All the great chess teachers, all the great piano teachers, everybody who's ever been a great teacher has always had students surpass them. Otherwise, you aren't. You're keeping secrets. There we go with that word again. Hidden and not pushing society to the next level. Yeah. As it turns out, I think I'm most proud of my 14 knight c3 moves thus far. But you don't count your chickens before they've hatched. Okay, so he plays queen d8. And now you can really see my advantage in force. He has one piece. And I am very close to figuring out a checkmate. I really think this f-rook should be moving to e1. This just makes a ton of sense to me because I attack the knight. If the knight moves, then I get a discovered check by moving my other knight. But what's defending this knight? Nothing. So, we got to be mindful of these, when the queen moves, it's not just guarding e7, but it could get rid of the threat of mate a different way by taking my knight. Checks captures threats. Must do the checks captures threats. This is how you avoid mistakes like this, right? Let us see. I mean, all right. So this is, d5's under attack. I'm tempted about this whole queen takes b7 because it defends Plus, check out this diagonal. It would be an open diagonal. No pawns. My queen would be super powered on this diagonal. I could still target this knight. It would not be safe. Plus, I could be threatening check there. So I think I just answered my question. You know, see, like if you just instinctively say, "Hey, my knight's under attack," um, but you need to look at your checks, captures, and threats. I looked at my checks, but in fact, it is a capture that I'm going to go with. Defending the knight on d5 via the capture gets my queen. And then I still want to play rook e1. I mean, it's still, this is part of the dream, right? I might get a really, I would like to do a really pretty checkmate on stream. That would be, yeah, I'm seeing some potential for artistic finishes here. If I can if I can steer it aesthetically toward art without risking too much, I will do that for my viewers. Chess is, as Karpov said, a sport, science, and art. Karpov was 100% correct with this. In fact, just a couple posts ago on Daily Chess Musings, I talked about the art of chess. All in all, so far this has been a very entertaining game, I hope. It's been very entertaining for me. And I'll take a look at the chess.com analysis real fast when we finish and see how close we were to high accuracy and whatnot if we missed anything. Those tools. Hey, jellification. Quite possibly jellification. Quite possibly indeed. We will see. I may take a quick break. I've had now 2 people request to jellification is one of those who has beaten me on stream. Right, jellification? Is this correct? Or am I getting you confused with somebody else? It's so much fun to be seeing so many. Twice. Yep. See, he even says I have a 2-0 record against you. Wow. It's fun to see. So that one nightmare. I think you're new. You're a new friend today. But Arcane Doctrine and Jellification, very old friends. Chess brings communities together. It's so neat. Yeah. So yeah, I will need to go through the game quickly with my student, have a quick powwow, and then so I may take a short break, see if I can find my old ads, and then. Okay, good. I did win. I did. He's up 2, but I did beat Jellification. That makes me feel better. Thank you for correcting it, Jellification. So right now my student is focused hard. He's realized he's made a couple mistakes. And the more he calculates, maybe the worse it gets. But, you know, the door isn't 100% shut. Even if there's a crack, you got to fight. There's a teeny bit of light peeking through. But, all his big guns, this rook has no scope. No forward scope. This queen, back rank. This rook's in the back rank. You look at my nice knights and my queen, and it's a different story. A different story completely. And this knight may be on my side of the board, but it is a target. It is not supported. It is vulnerable. Second time in this game it's been vulnerable on e4. Let me, while we're waiting, let me go back and show you how we got here. Up, and he made a move. Knight d6. So my queen is under attack. But I do have the nice queen c6 check, which is not blockable. See, my knight is guarding this square, this knight, and this square, right? Everybody sees that. All right, so that's taken. So he cannot interpose. And then this knight is taking the third square. So am I right to believe that if I play queen c6, I have a mate in 2? Looks like, doesn't it? Because the king can't move. The queen would have to block. So queen c6. There's the first check. And then he's got to block with his queen. And then the queen takes, and that is game. And now let me look at the accuracy. It looks like I made one blunder. Interesting. See? Learning stuff. Let me make sure this is showing up for you guys. Looks like, yeah, there it is. Cool. And let's take a look. I had a 91.7 accuracy. That's not too bad, but like a lot of it in the opening was just Greco knowledge. Okay. Okay, all this follows a very old Greco game. Gioachino Greco, he played all of this and this. And even, you know, see, this is where I forget. But I know for a fact that the best move is moving the... this ignores a better way to evade checks. Let's see if chess.com agrees with me. And then this is what should have happened. Then I take the knight. And then maybe the queen comes out to f6, right? All right. So he went the wrong way here. And the king being in the back rank is not any safer. And the fact of the matter is the rooks then are going to be hard to coordinate. Then I take. I don't know why I get an exclaim for that. That's kind of obvious. Queen f6 is a mistake. Really? I mean, obviously I castle, but what should he have played here? Queen g4. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's more threatening. All right, so the preliminary step unnecessary, and then he goes there, which again is another mistake. Ah, attacking the queen. Interesting. a5. I didn't even consider that one. Wow. I didn't think of that move at all. That would have given me a little bit of pause. All right, so right here I thought of a lot of different moves. Let's see if my knight c3 is... It is. My goodness. All right. So right here I looked at a lot of different moves, right? Hang on. So if I play knight c3, is what... Let me show you what happened first. All right, and then I said I'm just going to go down the... Yep, the exchange, all right. Then I take, then I play f4 to remove the guard, and then he has to go there to keep guarding against checkmate. Then I took, and then, I didn't ever see a blunder. Don't know why it said that I played a blunder. Maybe it was his blunder and I misunderstood. But all right, so getting back to this key moment in the game, right here, let me look at a couple of the what ifs. So I definitely looked at what if I had done this. And then c6, It looks like white's still winning. Let's see what computer says. And then queen e2 or queen d3. And this is what I talked about. These are not book moves. These are the computer. I'm running the computer now. And then, hang on. So, and then let's look at the f4. Remember, I was very tempted to play f4 here. Would white still have been winning with f4? This was the part of the game where I just felt, I felt uncertainty. It was like one of the main parts where I felt uncertain. But I wanted to play the most interesting game possible. And yeah, f4 is fine. F4 was fine. Probably he would want to play, just go back to d8 maybe with the queen even. Might be best. And then I would just bring my knight out, develop. All right. And then what was, I also looked at like queen a4. I looked at queen b5, queen a4. I believe they're quite similar indeed. c6. And then they're actually quite different. They're actually, because in the queen b5, I came back to queen e2 to put my queen in the same file as my opponent's king. And in this one, I combined two ideas. Now I play f4. So that, and knight c6 is a little too risky probably, because what we got to realize is before I get to a couple things. So there's this intermezzo move, right? They don't have to take back right away. And now this is on the same diagonal as the queen, and this is still, the bishop's still threatening to come down here to h3. And so actually I think I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble then. All right, so I'm going to take a quick break, and let me run some ads. And then maybe I'll be back in a moment and play some other players some games. But let me take a quick break and run some ads. Let's see if I can do this the proper way. Okay, let's just. All right, guys. I'm sorry. I just got to end the broadcast. I will come back. Maybe. How about Friday? How about tomorrow night? Tomorrow evening around this time, I'll come back, play some chess, and everybody who wants to, I'll just have it open to. Because I got to. I need to take a few minutes to talk with my student that I just played, and that needs to be priority number one. And I was hoping to run some ads on my stream, but the ads don't seem to be loading. So I will see everybody again tomorrow. So long, and I hope everybody enjoyed what we did today. All right, have a great time, and don't forget to like, subscribe. Go check out dailychessmusings.com. Check out Daily Chess Musings YouTube channel. So long, everybody. Bye.